Greetings, Guardians. Welcome back to Olympus Alliance. Today we have an important official announcement that will affect every single player in Hero Wars Alliance. On July 13th, the Research Center is receiving one of its biggest updates since it was introduced, bringing brand new research branches, new progression systems, and additional ways to strengthen both your heroes and your troops. As always, Guardians, today's video isn't about speculation or predictions. Everything we're covering comes directly from the official announcement. Our goal is simply to explain what is changing, what it means for your account, and which details we'll need to test once the update goes live. So, let's begin with the biggest announcement. The Research Center is reaching a whole new level. According to the developers, completely new research branches are being introduced, allowing players to further improve both heroes and troops, through a much more specialized progression system. Instead of having one general research path, the system will now be divided into three main categories. The first category is combat classes, which focuses on your offensive hero classes, including mages, marksmen, and warriors. The second category is tactical classes, designed for healers, tanks, support heroes, and control heroes, giving each role its own dedicated progression. Finally, the third category is Troops Pro, introducing additional upgrades, specifically for your realm troops. The purpose of these new branches is very straightforward. Each class will now receive its own collection of attribute upgrades, allowing you to strengthen heroes according to the role they perform on the battlefield rather than using one universal progression path. According to the official announcement, these new research branches can increase hero attributes by as much as 25%, providing a significant boost across multiple classes while making every battle easier as your research progresses. This also means players will have much more flexibility when deciding where to invest their research, depending on the heroes and team compositions they use the most. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next. Let's go through each hero class individually, and see exactly which attributes every branch will provide. Now let's begin with the first combat classes, starting with marksmen and warriors. Marksmen receive a collection of upgrades clearly designed to improve their offensive consistency while also giving them a small increase in survivability. The first bonus is 2.5% physical attack, providing a direct increase to the damage dealt by every physical damage marksman. Next comes 9% critical hit chance, allowing heroes that rely on critical strikes to trigger them much more consistently throughout the battle. After that, we have 3.5% armor penetration, helping marksmen deal with heavily armored front lines by allowing more of their physical damage to pass through enemy defenses. The fourth attribute is 2.5% health. While it's a smaller defensive bonus, every additional point of health helps fragile backline heroes survive longer against assassins, splash damage, and area attacks. Finally, marksmen also gain 10% crushing, further increasing their offensive potential through one of the game's newer combat attributes. Now let's move to the warrior branch. At first glance, you'll notice that warriors receive a very similar research path, but with one important difference. Instead of gaining 2.5% physical attack, warriors receive 3.5% physical attack, giving them an even larger increase to their primary source of damage. They also receive 9% critical hit chance, improving the consistency of critical strikes for warriors capable of dealing critical damage. Next comes 3.5% armor penetration, allowing them to cut through enemy armor more effectively and maintain their damage output against defensive compositions. Just like the marksman branch, warriors also receive 2.5% health, adding a little more durability while remaining focused primarily on offense. Finally, the warrior branch also includes 10% crushing, completing a package that is clearly designed to increase both damage and consistency during battle. Looking at both branches together, it's easy to see the overall design philosophy. Both classes receive stronger offensive attributes, improved penetration against defensive heroes, additional health to increase survivability, and crushing to further reinforce their damage potential. The biggest distinction between them is the additional 1% physical attack given exclusively to warriors, reinforcing their role as frontline damage dealers. Now, let's continue with the next combat class and take a look at what the new research brings for mages and tanks. Starting with the mages. Just like the previous branches, the objective here is very clear: increase their offensive potential while adding a small amount of survivability. The first attribute is 2.5% magic attack, directly increasing the damage and effectiveness of every mage whose abilities scale with magic attack. Next comes 9% magical critical hit chance, improving the consistency of magical critical strikes for heroes capable of triggering them. The third upgrade is 3.5% magic penetration, allowing mages to bypass a larger portion of the enemy's magic defense and deal more effective damage against defensive compositions. Players will also receive 2.5% health, providing a small increase in survivability and helping fragile backline mages remain alive for longer during extended battles. Finally, the Mage branch also includes 10% crushing, completing a research path that is almost entirely focused on increasing magical damage output. Now let's move to the first tactical class. Tanks. Unlike the combat classes, the tank branch is designed almost entirely around durability rather than damage. The first bonus is 5% health, immediately increasing the amount of damage tanks can absorb before falling. This is followed by 5% armor, strengthening their resistance against physical damage and allowing them to withstand frontline pressure much more effectively. The third attribute is 2.5% magic defense, giving tanks additional protection against magic damage and improving their ability to survive against mage compositions. Finally, tanks receive 25% toughness, making this by far the largest individual percentage bonus we've seen so far. Looking at the complete branch, it's very clear that the objective isn't increasing damage. It's increasing survivability. More health. More armor. More magic defense. And a significant increase to toughness. Everything in this research path is designed to help tanks remain on the battlefield longer and continue protecting the rest of the team. With the combat classes now covered, let's move on to the remaining tactical classes, where we'll take a closer look at healers, support heroes, and control heroes, including one brand new attribute that immediately caught our attention. Support heroes receive one of the most balanced research branches in the entire update, strengthening both their offensive capabilities and their survivability. The first upgrade is 4.5% health, giving support heroes a noticeable increase in durability and helping them remain alive longer throughout extended battles. They also receive 5% physical attack and 5% magic attack, making this one of the few branches capable of benefiting both physical and magical support heroes depending on their individual role. To further increase their survivability, support heroes also gain 5% armor together with 2.5% magic defense, improving their resistance against both physical and magic damage. Finally, the branch is completed with 16% toughness, adding another important defensive layer that allows support heroes to continue assisting their team for much longer. Overall, this research path is designed to make support heroes more versatile, improving both their offensive contribution and their ability to survive under pressure. Now let's move to the final hero branch. Control heroes. This branch provides 2.5% health, 2.5% physical attack, 2.5% magic attack, 5% armor, 2.5% magic defense, and finally, 25% fortitude. And guardians. This is the one attribute that immediately caught our attention. not because we know how powerful it is, but because we don't know what it does yet. Fortitude is a completely new stat introduced with this update, and at the time of this announcement, Nexters hasn't explained exactly how it works or how it will influence battles. So rather than trying to guess, or making assumptions before the update is even available, we're going to do what we've always done here at Olympus Alliance. We'll wait. We'll test it ourselves once the update goes live. And only then will we explain exactly what Fortitude does, how it interacts with the game, and whether it's a game-changing attribute or simply another defensive statistic. Until then, the only official information we have is that control heroes will receive up to 25% fortitude through the new research system, and we'll discover its true purpose together once the update arrives. Now let's take a look at the healer branch. Just like tanks, this research path is primarily focused on improving survivability, but it also strengthens the attribute that many healing abilities scale from. Healers receive 2.5% health, giving them additional durability and helping them remain on the battlefield for longer during extended fights. They also gain 5% magic attack, an important bonus for many healing heroes whose abilities become stronger as their magic attack increases. To improve their defensive capabilities, healers receive 2.5% armor together with 5% magic defense, allowing them to better withstand both physical and magic damage. Finally, the branch is completed with 16% toughness, further increasing their durability and helping them continue supporting the team even under heavy pressure. Overall, this research path is clearly designed to keep your healers alive for longer while also increasing the effectiveness of the abilities they use throughout the battle. Now, before moving on, there's another important point mentioned in the official announcement. Although the research center is receiving several brand new branches, your existing progress isn't going anywhere. According to the developers, every hero and troop research you've already completed will remain unlocked after the update. The current growth and battle branches will simply be reorganized into these new dedicated categories, making the entire system easier to navigate while grouping similar upgrades together. In other words, the research system becomes much more organized without forcing players to start over. The announcement also confirms that the cost of all existing research remains exactly the same. The only additional requirement comes from the brand new research branches, which will introduce a completely new resource that we'll look at next. To unlock the full potential of the new research system, players will continue using the familiar resources they've always invested, but alongside them, a brand new resource is being introduced. Honor Marks. According to the official announcement, honor marks will become the currency required to unlock and progress through the new research branches. These honor marks can be earned through guild versus chests, as well as weekly league rewards and seasonal league rewards. As you collect honor marks, you'll be able to unlock additional research upgrades, making both your heroes and your realm troops even stronger over time. With every new upgrade completed, you'll continue increasing your overall power, giving yourself another advantage not only in hero battles, but also during guild competition and across the realm map. Alongside this new resource, Nexters is also introducing a completely new reward system tied directly to your research progression. Research chests. From now on, advancing your research won't simply make your account stronger. It will also reward you with valuable loot along the way. For every 10 research upgrades you complete, you'll unlock one opening for a brand new research chest, allowing you to immediately claim additional rewards for your progress. And these aren't small rewards. According to the announcement, research chests can contain skin stone chests, rune stones, artifact boxes of multiple rarities, titan skin stones, summoning spheres, elemental spheres, tomes caskets, and trophy soul caskets. Even better, the developers also confirmed that the further you progress through the research system, the more valuable both the chests and their rewards become. Finally, there's another important detail for players who have already invested heavily into research. If you've already completed a significant amount of research before this update arrives, you won't need to start this reward system from the beginning. Instead, you'll be able to open multiple research chests immediately as soon as the update goes live, allowing long-time players to instantly collect rewards based on the progress they've already made. Now, before we finish today's update, there's one more feature coming alongside the new research system. A second research center. According to the official announcement, once your hero haul reaches level 13, you'll unlock a special offer allowing you to purchase a second research center. The idea behind it is very simple. Instead of working on a single research project at a time, you'll now be able to run 2 research projects simultaneously. That means less waiting, faster progression, and the opportunity to advance through the new research branches much more efficiently. It's a straightforward quality of life improvement for players looking to speed up their research progression. Finally, let's talk about something every player will notice the moment they log into the game. The city itself. The developers have completely refreshed the city visuals, giving it a cleaner and more modern appearance. According to the announcement, the city has been made brighter, cleaner, and much more spacious by reducing the number of icons displayed on the main screen. The objective is simple. Less visual clutter, better navigation, and making the places you visit every day much easier to find. The research center itself is also becoming easier to access. Instead of opening it through Beyond, you'll simply tap the research center building directly from the main city screen to begin upgrading your research. As part of this redesign, the research center now replaces the Beyond building. However, Beyond isn't disappearing. Access to Beyond chests will remain available through the Hall of Fortune, meaning the feature is simply being moved rather than removed. According to the developers, the new city interface will become available to every player on July 13th, arriving together with all of the research changes we've covered throughout today's video. Overall, this update introduces one of the biggest improvements we've seen to the research center in a very long time. Dedicated hero classes. New research branches. A brand new resource. Additional rewards through research chests. The possibility of running 2 research projects at once. And a cleaner, more accessible city interface. There are still a few details we'll need to test ourselves once the update goes live, especially the brand new Fortitude attribute, but everything else we've covered today comes directly from the official announcement. As always, once the update is available, we'll be testing every new feature, every new mechanic, and every new interaction so we can bring you complete guides based on gameplay rather than speculation. Now we'd love to hear from you, Guardians. What are you looking forward to the most? The new research branches. The research chests. The second research center. Or the redesigned city? Let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to Olympus Alliance, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our complete testing once the update arrives. Stay tuned. Stay sharp. Salute and friendship.